Stand clear.
100% Wild podcast.
So for all you listeners,
hello and welcome to
definitely not your favorite outdoor podcast.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the DruryOutdoors 100% Wild podcast, episode number 360. Happy New Year, everybody. We're powered by DeerCast. This is Tim Chelsvik.
This is Matt Drury. It's a new year.
2024.
It's a new me.
We're in the is it
We're going to kill something.
time?
Yes.
That's what we're going to kill.
Actually, Tim, I'm pretty much an expert guide, like Mark and Terry level now.
I mean, it's hard to argue with it.
It really is.
We're going to tell a story.
I might be better guide than hunter. So, you think those go hand in hand, but maybe not.
It's like those who can't do, teach.
Nobody would want to me as a teacher. Just ask my son and daughter.
I feel bad. Like every now and again, I think about like Bo and Sophie, and they're hunting. Like Sophie's worked her butt off to try to kill it. She's killed a doe. She's super proud of that. She'd like to kill a buck. Yeah. But Daddy's grounds that she's hunting aren't the best. And I think about like the Odell kids who
slaughtering everything in Texas.
They go on a weekend and they come back with 8 deer. And it's just a totally different. And you know, Sophie's like a multi-year project to kill a buck.
Just like you.
It hits home. The apple don't fall far from the tree. There is something to be said for working for, we talked about that with Sal, not having success right out of the gates and working for it.
Yeah, it's funny. So a quick side note story that dials into this exactly. So Justin Lurk and Jason Lurk, they're my cousins. People would know Jared and Justin from Bow Madness from DruryOutdoors. They have a younger brother, Jason, as well. So they went up to Kansas City over the holiday break, like day before New Year's, I think, or maybe it was right after New Year. I don't remember. It was just a couple days ago. And so they went up, and Justin's got a lease up there. So the plan was to go up with it's an archery only because I think it's within the city limits of KC. Okay. So they were going to go up with crossbows and, you know, and see what they could do. And Jason's son, Braxton, has totally ate up with deer hunting, but he's not really had any success yet. And Jason's kind of hunting back home from where we're at in St. Genevieve. It's not the same, kind of not hunting the same areas that Jared and Justin have access to. So anyways, Justin and his son Brady, Jason and his son Braxton, they go to Kansas City, not having much luck. And Brandon Jennings is over there as well. And Brandon's like, you know what? I got a piece of ground. Why don't you guys go hunt over there? I'm not hunting there. He had a bunch of cut corn and everything. And he's like, and here it's outside the city limits. He's like, you could use my Traditions Nitro Fire. So use this muzzleloader. So the four of them went together. They sat in a blind, and a 2-year-old pops out. And I think like 120 yards. And Braxton, since he had never killed a buck and he's so ate up with it, like this kid created an essay. I think we posted it. We did. We posted it in DeerCast.
It's been about a year, but
an essay about deer hunting. It was like really well thought out. You know, he's like maybe a 3rd grader or 4th grader, something like that.
I bumped a rider off the team just so we had room for him.
Smart decision. So anyhow, they're like, all right, you go first. You try. So the deer comes out like 120 yards. He's like, I'm on him. I think I can get him. And Justin's like, no, let's wait till he gets closer. So he gets closer. Braxton shoots and he misses him. And they had shot the gun beforehand, or Justin had, and it was dead on. And, you know, it's Brandon's gun and scope, and it's all set up and ready. And so the deer comes closer. And so Justin reloads that muzzleloader, and those nitro fires, it's pretty easy. You know, it's an easy process. So he reloads, sticks the gun out the window again, boom, shoots him. And this time Justin wasn't ready for him, and he just shot him again. But his broadside, he had the angle, and he missed him again. And so he comes closer, and he gets another shot, and he missed him again.
3 shots.
I'm almost positive it was 3, and then. So Justin keeps reloading because this deer, like he's a 2-year-old, they're just dumb 2-year-olds. You know what I mean? And like he's the only deer. Well, by this time, another deer popped out and it kind of held this 2-year-old on the food plot. And so Justin's like, I got one more, I got one more fire stick. And And he's like, Braxton, do you want to try again? And Braxton at this point, I think, had enough. And he's like, no, he shook his head no. And so Brady's like, can I try? And so the deer's at like 30 yards and Brady shoots him and he dies right there. So Justin was telling me the story and I said, you know what? I hate that for Braxton. I really do. But sometimes it's good for the boys to see, like, you don't go out and kill something every time.
Yes.
It's a very tough lesson for Braxton in this scenario. But in general, it's good for kids to see that they don't always win in everything in life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's not just an automatic.
And we cream the crop with most of our footage. Like we're showing kills. And so you don't see all the hunts where guys are going out and not seeing anything or not seeing
which is the majority of them.
Yeah. That's just kind of what happens. I remember when I was a kid, my dad, I don't know, like I grew up watching fishing shows and I remember my dad telling me, well, because I kept saying like, I want to go fish where these guys are fishing. And I didn't understand the concept of editing the footage. And when he told me, it was like, someone just opened up a whole new world of disappointment. Like what? So they're not catching fish on every cast.
Welcome to the industry, Tim.
Yeah.
It's a world of disappointment,
man. Well, I've got 2 seasons of a bunch of footage of nothing.
Yeah.
So far.
It's tough, but I've mentioned it before. Like you don't have a lot of time to go. Today would be a perfect opportunity, decent weather. You can't go.
Yeah.
Somebody scheduled a 6 p.m. meeting.
Who does that?
It wasn't me, people.
Who does that?
Me. That's what I said. Who does that?
And this is the double-edged sword of having cell cams is because I usually get confirmation that, should have went out.
Yeah.
Because there he is.
Yeah. So we mentioned it before in the lead in here that I may be making myself into a better guide than a hunter. So the story here, over the last 2 weeks or so, we have this deer, and I've talked about him on the podcast a billion times. The short G210. He's just a 6.5-year-old deer that he's a mainframe 10 that never changed hardly at all from age 4 through 6. Like just never really got any better. And he's on this lease that I hunt on, and he's been there since day one. And it's actually the very first deer that Aaron Bennett and the landowner Doug saw the first time they hunted. We have a billion trail cam pictures of him. I've seen him. I can't tell you how many times right at dark or after dark. And Scott had a missed him last year with his crossbow. I mean, it's just one of those deer.
Very familiar.
And he will not die. Like he's smart. He's a smart, like he's had enough incidents with us in these box blinds, like us fumbling around in there.
He's got one eye on that box.
He does. And even when we're not in it and on the trail camera pictures, the cell cams, like he's always looking at it. He'll step out and he'll look at it. And so last couple of weeks here, he's been coming out a lot, and there's a couple really nice deer on this piece. And so I'm after one of these really nice deer. And you should not look a gift horse in the mouth. And I know this, but it's always the but I just know I wouldn't be happy shooting this deer.
Yeah.
But he needs to go as well. And Scott's tagged out. And so I floated it to the landowner early on. I was like, hey, what if, because Aaron's, we're all in this friend group. I was like, what if, I had Aaron come out and shoot the short G210 if we have the opportunity? He's like, yeah, do it, man. He needs to go. And so we were hunting. Scott and I were hunting. I think this was right before Christmas. And we had a couple encounters right at last light where the deer came out, 1 minute left, 2 minutes left, within 20 yards of the blind. And it was like real cloudy days. And for those of you that don't film your hunts, like cloud cover absolutely murders your time.
20 minutes.
20 minutes.
You can shave off
now,
shooting light.
There's good camera guys that know, like we always have a big camera that we film with, but we always have a DSLR with us as well. And those DSLRs are amazing what they can, like low light can pick up footage wise. So it gets us to the end of legal. If you really had to, but you wouldn't want to use it for like the lenses that we have. Like you wouldn't want to rifle hunt with a DSLR.
Yeah.
Now some guys, like some production companies, they have long lenses and that's all they shoot with. And that's the real cinematic, like Heartland bow hunter style.
Yeah. You're pretty.
We are not that. We're a run and gun, guerrilla style. So anyway, so Scott knows how to run these cameras really well, the DSLRs. And so we had this deer pop out, the short G210, right at last like 2 minutes of light. And I put up my lure poles and I'm like, oh, it's him. I couldn't even tell at 20 yards what deer it was. It was just dark. And so he throws up the DSLR and he's getting footage of him. And I'm like, no, I'm going to pass. It's just after all this time and all these encounters, like, let's not get a shitty kill just for the sake of me shooting something. Mm-hmm. So the next night he comes out. This time I'm ready with my binoculars in the last, because it's almost the exact same scenario with cloud cover that night. And this time I'm ready and I got my binoculars. I'm like looking in the timber to like see if I could catch them a little bit ahead of time. Yeah. So we could get ready, get a window open, all that stuff.
And those loopholes give you a little more light. Like they suck in more light than your eyes do.
They do for sure. And I'm using the BX4 this year and it's that rangefinder binocular. It doesn't as much as their regular binocular. The regular binoculars are unbelievable how much low light you pick up. This, because of the rangefinder technology in it, it's not quite as bright at low light, but there's offsetting benefits with the rangefinder. I'm constantly ranging stuff.
Like Luke Skywalker.
Well, a deer comes out at 80 yards. I'm like, 83 yards. And it's, so and so. Yeah, it's, I love it.
It's cool.
But yeah, it's not, it's just because I love pressing buttons, as you know.
Hey, button pressure.
So anyhow, this time I see the deer come out and we have plenty of light. It's like, well, not plenty. I mean, it's like 4 minutes, ahead. And Scott's got the DSLR again. And as soon as he popped out, I'm looking at him and through binoculars, at 20 yards, he looks like he's at a yard. And I'm like, man, I just can't. I was like, I just can't shoot this deer. I was like, no, I'm not going to open the window.
You have more restraint than I do.
I'm going to pass. But I've also killed a deer this year.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've,
different story.
I've helped Scott kill 2 and I killed 1 and Cameron killed 1. Like we've had a good year. So I'm not like just desperate dying to shoot something.
Yeah.
So he comes out. I said, no, I'm going to pass. He walks right in front of the blind, 20 yards broadside. And then he looks at us and just stares at us for like 2 minutes. What felt like 2 minutes, probably 20 seconds. And I was like, son of a gun, like
he's begging for it.
I hate this deer, and then he walked into the beans and he ate, quartering away for, until we got no more light. And, then we had to wait, a few minutes, a half hour, whatever it was for to get even darker because I'm gonna have to clear the field. And that is the worst part about sitting food source and kind of being in the middle. Like it's just, you're going to completely blow out the field on your way out. Yeah. There's like no avoiding it unless you have somebody come in and spook the deer for you, like a truck or, we talked about on the podcast and that's what we've done a couple times. But anyway, so we get out and I was like, man, Aaron, it's like Christmas break. I had 1,000 events to go to. I'm not even kidding. 1,000, Tim.
Kind of bragging.
No, it's brutal. Every family.
The RC helicopter club gathering.
Yeah. So I told Aaron ahead of time, I was like, look, Scott went back to Springfield and got COVID. And I told Aaron, I was like, get a camera guy and keep going in there. Any chance you can get, go in there. Cause he's killable. When the days I wasn't there, he was on trail camera every, 5 out of 7 days, basically.
Dang.
So anyways, he hunted a couple times, saw him right at the end of legal. So they didn't shoot, 2 times he saw him right at the end of legal. And so,
and this property, like the deer are bedding off property.
Yeah.
That's why it's taken them so long to get to the food source.
That, and there's been a lot of horrible intrusion in the previous 20 years up to, the time I got the lease 3 years ago as a new landowner is why I got the lease. So it's like this deer was alive for several years of the bad times. I like to call it, where he's
been habituated to it.
Yeah. Every deer was getting shot at. 20 people on the same lease kind of thing.
Jeez.
And gun season was the season. So anyways, Aaron hunted a couple times, didn't have a chance to kill him. So finally, I get through most of the holiday stuff and I'm like, all right, I can go. I think I went. Oh no, Scott had COVID. So we didn't go together. So I called Aaron up. I was like, hey, if you want, come back. He has a muzzleloader tag in his pocket. I don't. I have a bow tag. Yeah. So he was going to film me. If the deer I'm after comes out, obviously I'm going to try to get it done with a bow. If short G210 comes out, Aaron's up to bat and I'll take the camera.
Yeah.
Sure enough, 20 minutes, like nothing moved early. It was a late moving night, and which is typical out there. And so finally, like 20 minutes left. I think it was around 5 o'clock, like a couple does kind of ran out of the timber. I'm like, oh, hey, right at the end of the hot corner.
Isn't it weird how they just run?
Oh yeah. We had one last night, sprinted out.
What are you
timber.
doing?
And I was like, so what's behind her? What's behind her? Nothing. What's behind her? Was the answer. Nothing.
Idiots.
And so these 3 does popped out, and they come out, but go behind us to the winter wheat.
Okay.
And everything's kind of within bow range, right where I got this blind, so purposely I'm pretty much gonna jump all over anything that moves between, if it goes right or goes left or whatever. I got a good chance if they're out in this field with archery. With gun, it's a no-brainer. So then I see a half rack pop out that we've seen quite a bit. It's a really nice deer.
Like he's busted off half rack?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then after that, another doe or two. And then all of a sudden we see this heart-shaped 10. He's a 4-year-old we've been passing. And Aaron's like, hey, last couple of nights, Short G210's been with that deer.
Buddies.
Yeah. And so I got the Leopolds up because he's still filming me at this point.
Okay.
And I look back there. I was like, there he is. He's coming out of the timber. So Aaron gets him coming out, and then we swap cameras, and I take the camera. We had to totally reposition our chairs in the blind and kind of move to a different window. And by the time these deer were moving so fast, like we had oats in front of us. We have beans kind of to the right of us. And then behind us is this gigantic bean field that's now winter wheat.
Okay.
And they were moving, man, fast to it. Everything was coming behind us, going to the bean or the winter wheat. So, I mean, we're moving pretty fast, and Aaron's ready, and I'm trying to film. And so I open up but I also have to open the windows for him, or the window for him. So I unlock all the locks on that hawk blind, and he's staring at us. And so I'm waiting for a second.
At how far?
He's probably 40 yards.
Oh.
And so I open the window. Finally, I get the window open up. And look, I'm not a videographer. You might be surprised by this, but every time I have to film, it's usually a debacle.
I've heard stories.
Hey, easy. Well, look, and we're always swapping cameras. Like I'm never the one.
It's never ideal.
Yeah, I'm never the one going in there to be like, other than Scott's gun hunt, where I had already shot a deer, so I knew going in, like I was the camera guy.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's somebody filming me and a deer steps out that they're going to shoot, and we switch,
There's a lot going on there.
So as soon as I get the camera and it's Aaron's camera, I start zooming in and zooming out. And it's like I think it was Wayne's World, where the camera would go in and out and in and out real fast.
Yeah, and then Wayne's World 2 was camera 1.
Yeah.
Camera 2.
Well, it was that. So I zoom in, and I couldn't tell through the LCD on the camera if it was out of focus.
Yeah.
It just seemed out of focus. I don't know. Maybe I got bad vision. Maybe I'm getting old. So I zoom in, and he's like, "You good?" I'm like, zoom out, zoom in, zoom out, zoom in. He's like, "Are you good?"
He's right here.
The deer's just staring at us. He's like, "I knew somebody was in that blind." Finally,
well, and you guys have had like a concept of like maybe the deer can see that internal iris moving whenever you're zooming in and out.
Yeah, you're not supposed to zoom in and out because they can see that movement inside the lens.
You're a rule breaker.
And I'm just hammering it. Finally, I go back to zooming in, and it was like full frame, and I was like, he's like, "Are you on him?" I'm like,
"Probably."
Yeah, go ahead. Like, shit, I don't know. Kill him.
You'll end up approving the hunt anyway, so you're good.
We can't let this guy get out of sight. Oh, there's Aaron right now. Do we have a special guest in studio?
Well,
man, Matt. We're just telling the story of the Short G210. Hey, hold on 1 second. Matt, can we get another? Oh, no, Alan's getting us. Let's get one more setup here. All right, good to go. All right, so you caught us we're right in the thick of telling the story of when he came out.
He's zooming in and zooming out.
I'm in the middle of zooming in and zooming out a lot. Aaron, I don't know that he's seen all of that yet. We didn't even look at the kill. We
just got out.
He was just waiting to pull the trigger.
Yeah. So anyway, Aaron Bennett's with us now. He's the hunter here in this scenario. And so deer comes out. I'm zooming. Finally, I was like, yep, I'm on him. Shoot him. Aaron shoots this deer. So he's using My Traditions Nitro Fire. We use those bleed bullets, the fire stick. He hits the deer, and it drops and kind of rolls on its back. And it's like, looks to me like he spined him. Like that's how he acted.
A spine shot. Yeah.
Yeah. All curled up.
And I was like, shit, put another, load the gun.
I've been here before.
Listen, had bad experiences here in Kansas. So it's like reload. So he's reloading, and I'm zooming in and zooming out on that deer to check in on him still. And I'm still zooming. And he's finally, Aaron's like, I think he's dead. I think he expired there. And I was like, let's get out and go over there while it's still daylight, because we still had 10, 15 minutes of legal. I was like, in case we got to shoot him again, we can't obviously once legal's over. So let's do it now. So we got down and went over there, and he was only 40 yards. So walk over. Sure enough, he was dead. Like, I've not seen that kind of devastation, and that bullet's awesome, but I've never seen it quite like that.
Well, and like it didn't come out the backside. So like it expended all the energy into the body. And I'm guessing it's hard to tell when he field dressed, but I'm guessing maybe it fragmented, maybe did shock that spine.
Double lung, maybe.
Yeah.
Where were you holding?
Dead on, like low lung.
Okay.
So like mid to low lung.
Yeah. So it was awesome.
Well, I was holding for so long, waiting for him to. Like, are you on him? Are you on him?
Boring a hole for that deer with your eyes. Well, it worked out.
It's blurry. I'm like, shouldn't be.
It wasn't. Turns out.
I'm really anxious to see the footage now.
It was good.
I keep thinking like a 60s dance video or something where they're like zooming in and out of the dancers.
Like I said, it was like Wayne's World, man.
Yes.
On the DeerCast post, I thought it looked fine. So.
Yeah, well, Ben cut it together and got right to the good part.
All the editing.
So, no, it was, check it out on DeerCast. It's up on DeerCast. So anyways, that was for that farm relatively early, because I texted Scott, texted Doug, and they're like, what time did he come out? I'm like, actually came out at 5:00, which is, we were due. And I had even said that going into the blind, because you get like every once out of 10 or 15 chances he might show up daylight. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it was just our chance this time.
Well, and like a couple days prior, I went there with Cody, and he showed up like 3 or 4 minutes after shooting light. And then a few days before that, I was there with Scott, and it was the same thing. He showed up 1 minute after legal shooting light.
And Scott and I had seen him 1 minute before, and then 4 minutes before, a week before that. So it's right around that time.
This time of year is tough. There's just so little movement.
But they are patternable if you have food, which is what we've talked about. Like, now is your best chance outside of early season to get them bed to food, food to bed. Yep. It's just a matter of if the moon lines up, in my opinion, our conditions. And we've been, we had that good moon phase right there, I think the 27th of December. So that's why he was daylighting then, I think.
Yeah, I think it was the pressure. We had really high pressure.
That night,
even though it was overcast.
Overcast, but the pressure was 30.37.
Yeah. That's weird.
Yeah, which late season you need a high pressure, like an extremely high pressure to get them moving early. And so, for instance, that was 2 nights ago. Last night I went back out there, sat in a different part of the farm for a different deer, and it was 30.18 and sunny. I thought they'd move their ass off. On the way to the farm, I saw several deer in the fields at 130, 145. I'm like, they're going to move like crazy. And out there, they didn't. It was right at dark. And then, saw 30 deer right at dark.
Crazy.
They just filed out to the food.
I think your biggest issue on that farm is your thick thermal cover and really good bedding is probably just far enough off your food.
Yeah, for sure. Too far away.
Yeah.
So anyways, it turned out to be a fun night. We finally ended the chapter of the Short G210. Doug, his wife, and Aaron now have all killed out there this year.
Now it's your turn, Matt.
and I hope it is. But if
still
it isn't,
time left.
If it isn't, it's nothing but my own fault. I mean, had an early season mishap out there, and then this deer was killable, and I just didn't.
I mean, you totally could have shot this deer numerous times.
There's a couple good ones out there.
Yeah,
that
you said this deer is for Aaron.
Well,
my buddy.
Would have been for Scott. It would have been Scott to finish the storyline from last year, but he was tagged out. Scott's had a hell of a year.
Must be tough for Scotty.
Yeah, minus all the COVID he keeps getting.
Yeah, he seemed to be susceptible to that.
Well, I know we were locked in nice and tight in that blind. Good. Probably about the time he was starting to come down with COVID.
Yeah, so I texted Aaron. I said, "Hey, just a heads up, Scott's got COVID." He's like, I ain't
too
scared."
Late for me.
He had some choice words for COVID. If it comes to me, I was like, all right, good enough for me.
Yeah, it's more of an inconvenience at this point.
Yeah. So anyhow, so it was a good night. And
congrats, man.
We were home. Hell, I got home by 8:30 or whatever.
It's nice we don't have to track them.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. We couldn't Believe it. Which, we went and got the buggy, and then because we rode the e-bikes in, and hell, he
Same
died.
one, or?
He died. Yes, tandem. He died like I'd say 20 yards from that bike.
Pigs.
Wouldn't you? It was like 20 yards from the bike is where he died. Every deer that night walked right past our bikes.
They all walk in
5
between.
yards.
They just don't care. It's
in
crazy.
between the blind and the bike, and where we walk in.
Yeah.
We nose jam up, and it's just like
Walked right through it every time, all of them. So we took the bikes, got out of there, got a buggy to come back in and load the deer up. And I was like, shit, I got like 2 cameras out here that I need to put batteries in. So it's like, let's get all
Doing
this.
stuff.
Yeah.
While you're there, you might as well.
Yeah. So it was a great night.
yeah.
Sweet.
So anyways, we're still out grinding, but that felt good. So felt good
Heck
to get
yeah.
one down.
Heck yeah. Well, let's jump in and help our buddy Jeremy, who's got this week's question of the day.
All right. So the question of the day is probably, you never know, brought to you by Cold Steel, professional hunting knives for real hunters.
And you can get these knives engraved now.
Little did I know.
It's like $12 to get something engraved on it.
It'd have to be someone pretty special for me to want to do that.
Like your wife.
Yes. The knife
Hey, honey.
that she uses against me. No way.
This was
It had his
poetic.
initials on it. He had just gave it to her. It was a
Little
Christmas gift.
Phil Hartman here.
Yeah. Too soon, Tim.
No,
All right.
it's been 20
So
years.
what's the question here today?
All right, Jeremy asked a question on the Rack Pack. He's wanting to know, do Mark and Terry ever plant beans in food plots smaller than 2 acres?
All right. So he asked this in the Rack Pack, and I had tagged like Forrest, Wade, and Perry. And in general, I think it's farm dependent and it's herd dependent a little bit.
Based on densities.
Yeah. They always fence it off with electrical fence, until right when the season hits or whenever
Maybe
they're
put a
ready
sign
for
up.
it. Yeah. Stay
You're
out.
not allowed.
No hunting allowed. You're like, hey, safe spot.
Well,
Or it's larger. It's part of a larger ag field, and the farmer will leave 1 or 2 acres.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's what we're doing in Marthansville at the Lease. Like that's what we do is
It works great.
it does. It's late season. Like last year we did not have great food out there and it was tough late season. I had a gun tag. We all had tags and we didn't kill anything. But this year we got a little luckier with planting, like the replanting of the oats. So we do have some green. And then we got the couple acres in 3 spots. I got like 1.5 acres in 3 different spots on the farm of standing beans. And then the rest is this gigantic cut bean field that's winter wheat now. And that's really the drawing source is the winter wheat.
Yeah.
I mean, last night we probably saw there were 30 deer kind of within our vicinity. And on the way out, I bet there was another 20 or so. There's probably 50 deer in general in this field. Now it's 100 something acres.
It's a big field.
It's gigantic.
You can see for like half a mile.
Yeah, which is why it's hard to hunt, and also why they won't come out until right around the last 20 minutes of the
pretty
night.
exposed.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're exposed. But I mentioned it on Working Class on DeerCast, that last episode with Kurt. As soon as there was an easement road on, as soon as the people sold that were back at the end of this easement and quit driving it, it has changed it. Like that intrusion alone has changed it drastically.
I mean, just look where you're leaving the food, like Northeast Beans. Like, you would never do that.
No.
Last year, you would never done that.
No, I purposely the last 2 years had nothing in that. So we never hunted that side of the farm.
Yeah.
So anyways, yeah. So if you do something on a small piece, I would fence it off. If you have a even 10 deer will annihilate your beans before they ever get up. 5 deer.
Or even something like Biologic Maximum. That's a great late season.
Yeah.
Like if you want late season food, like that's really good.
I would say it depends on where you're at in the country because like it has not gotten cold enough for us anymore here in like the Midwest for Maximum to be as much of a drawing power as it used to be. I remember 15, 20 years ago at Terry's farm when you were working there, Maximum, he'd have it was the late season draw.
What's in Maximum?
Is it
Brassicas?
Brassicas, turnips.
Yeah.
You know, they've got their own blend. I can't think of them offhand, but I filmed Henry kill that one on Maximum.
Was it?
A couple weeks ago.
So yeah, that was a great kill.
Yeah. We saw a lot of deer that night.
Yeah. So definitely a drawing power for sure.
Yeah. I think so.
I know. Well,
But what I've noticed is the guys moving to clover more because it's staying warmer later and them just planting more and more clover, frost eating clover in the pots.
Clover's been my my best food plot this year. Like
Same.
the deer have just been all over it.
Same.
That is my anthem for 2024. I've got to have clover plots.
Yeah.
Just
Frost seeding's the way to go, man.
It is. It's
When you
easy
have
to
a
take
plot.
care of.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There.
Especially if it's going to stay warm. Before it was like, once you hit December, like your clover was done. Now, like they're still hitting and it's January.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Hmm.
All right, Tim, what's next?
The Wildlife Word is made possible by Tracker Off-Road. For a limited time, get up to $1,500 off select in-stock 2022 and 2023 units with Inflation Buster savings.
I actually used that to my advantage. I ended up getting the kids a 90cc four-wheeler,
Oh, yeah?
a Tracker four-wheeler, and it was, I think it was $1,200 off or whatever. The deal,
Dang.
the doorbuster they had going on over at the Sunset Hills location. That four-wheeler is fun.
The crank.
Well, and there's like a governor on it right
Mhm.
now. So it's not dangerous for them, but it is fun.
Have you let the kids ride it yet?
No.
Hey, kids, check
It was a
Christmas
gift for
morning.
himself.
gotta
If you
test
haven't
it
caught
out.
on yet.
It was Christmas morning. They came out and then I said, all right, now go back in now. And then I just rode it the rest
Yes.
of the day.
Yeah, Dad's got to break it in.
No, they love it. My daughter is hell on wheels.
I can only imagine.
I ride with her to make sure nothing bad
Is
happens.
she going to be your child that drives like you?
Yes.
Oh, dear God.
100%.
boy.
Yeah. Cameron's too cautious.
Save
Lola's
up.
just crazy.
Better have a traffic law attorney on
She
hand.
crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, the pulp on the inside of this tree's flat legume
I thought it said fat
is
legume. All right, go ahead. Let's continue.
that's why I'm reading it for you. Is sweet and sought after by many herbivores, including deer, though the bean inside is of little nutritional value. What tree is this coming from? So it's not the seed inside the pod, it's the fiber and the pulp
I know this
inside.
I know what it is.
Okay, is it, see if our listeners know, is it a red oak? Is it from a white oak? Is it from a catalpa tree or a D honey locust tree?
On the count of three. 1, 2, 3.
Honey locust.
Wow.
Honey locust. There you
Check
go.
it out.
Yeah.
You guys are wieners.
Thought about saying something else just to be
Really?
funny. But I did.
No, do it.
Like what?
All right, guys. What's
Something
the
off the
answer?
Oh,
Oh, you're not going to. I was setting him up for another run at that.
New take. All right.
Yeah.
What do you think, Aaron?
Yeah, no.
Now I'm over it now. Let's move
Okay, I
on.
think Aaron
Well,
has
it's
to
not
go.
fun.
He's got a listing.
It's not funny
He came in
anymore.
to drop off my muzzleloader. He's like, I got to go.
All right, well,
guys.
sorry.
I got suckered into this podcast.
Yeah.
That's right. You are a sucker.
I've got 7 minutes.
All right. Let's
Okay.
go. Shout
All right.
outs.
All right. Turkey Thug 64 says he gave us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. Says, can't thank you guys enough for a great podcast. Matt and Tim do one heck of a job on interviews. Priceless wisdom from Mark and Terry. To be honest, my favorite episodes are talking about spring turkey. Well, it's coming up pretty quick.
It is. It'll be here before you know it. We appreciate the shout out, Turkey Thug 64.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say real quick, thanks past the previous years. Downloads and listens and views and all that good stuff, and we have again this year.
We
so
keep growing. We
Yeah.
got like 2,500 friends in the Rack Pack.
Yeah.
And
Aaron's in there.
Aaron is legitimately
I
in there.
I guess that's in there.
He was not coerced into it. He joined of his own accord.
Well, I told him I'd get him a deer.
Wow.
It's like, if you join the rack pack, I'll let you shoot the short.
Is that,
It's like,
does that go for everybody? Are you-
Hey, I gave you a chance today.
That's right.
On a deer. You said no. I got a 6 o'clock meeting.
such an idiot. I can't leave.
I got a job that I depend on.
We'll see about that.
All right. Last but certainly not least, let's welcome some new Rack Pack members in the Facebook group that Tim was talking about, Drury Outdoors Rack Pack. We have new members every week, every day. He gives me a list of names. I butcher the names. Somewhere in here, there's a fake name.
Yes.
All right. We got Bo Tiger, which seems like it would be a fake name, kind of. EEAU. So
Which is the right
if it would have been BOW, I would have thought fake.
But Tiger.
All right. Keegan Michael, Jason Nall, Joe Anderson, Wade Jansen, Jeremy Limerick. He has to be real because he left the question of the
He
day.
did.
Hugh Jantlers. Huge antlers. There's the fake one. Huge antlers. Huge antlers.
Huge.
Hold it. I got that. I got it.
I like it better when we
Huge. All
do
right.
it.
Jacob Tennant, Brian Cook, Pack Close. All right. Looks like Bo Tiger is a real person.
Right.
Yeah,
That's a cool name.
that's a sweet name. Dude.
Yeah. I'd have like,
How do you not pick up chicks with that name?
I'd have it like,
Could be horribly disfigured.
I'd have a shirt with
Could look
like I'd make a logo
Tim.
for myself, Bow Tiger, and I'd be some sort of like athlete. I think
Refer to yourself in the third person. Bo
Tiger.
Tiger's getting kind of hungry for lunch.
Bow Tiger don't like that, Tim.
Bo Tiger might go out and get Burger King.
Bow Tiger's fixing to kill this here deer.
Bo Tiger. Cool, like BT. Just call yourself BT.
BT in the house. Bo's getting
like
a
it.
lot of time here on the podcast.
He owes us money now.
Do you guys have JP on today?
We were supposed to. Thanks for blowing our cover here. So JP Morris was supposed to jump on, and he got called into a last minute meeting with Johnny. And from experience, I know that if you get called into a meeting, you take that meeting.
You tell Johnny you guys found another guest.
That's right. That's right.
Listen here.
We'll reschedule with
He's gonna
JP.
be like, who is this punch you guys are talking about?
So we're gonna go over this big deer that JP just killed with his trad bow. So pretty cool.
That's crazy.
Well, another episode.
Yeah.
Deep tease.
Look forward to it, folks.
All right. Well,
Well, I should say, nice job on hosting the best of 2023.
thank you, Tim.
Those are some good picks.
Tim wasn't on it, so if you don't like Tim, that's the episode to watch.
Yes.
Or go really far back to the Mark Kenyon episodes.
The first 60 some episodes of the series.
But no, we did a
Highlights.
best of. I think people enjoyed it. Aaron said he listened to it. He got a
It was
kick out of
good.
us making fun of each other, basically ripping on each other.
It helps because I know everyone. So I know what they're thinking when they're saying the things.
That's right. Yeah.
100%. And there were just some great moments. Like it's fun to see what we did in 2023 because it all kind of blends together when you do them.
Yes, it does, Tim.
So it was nice to get a little rundown of that.
When we were coming up with them, I would throw out a name. It's like, no, that was the year before. It's like, Jesus.
Yeah. It's hard to keep them straight.
All right. Well, that's enough show for today, Tim.
Yeah. 2024. Here we come, babies.
Hopefully, we're going to outpace 2023.
Let's do it.
Keep on this trajectory.
Yeah.
right.
I am your spirit animal.
Till next time, peace out.
DeerCast is now supercharged with maps. Get ahead of your game with killer new features like live Doppler radar, wind check out to 5 days, virtual rain gauges, GPS path tracking, and more. Plus, get our 14-day revolutionary DeerCast prediction and access to DeerCast Track. Prep, predict, and pursue with DeerCast.
We're adding new videos every week, so make sure to click that subscribe button and check out all of our amazing content. This episode of DoD TV is brought to you by DeerCast. Prep, predict, and pursue your target buck.